everyone. Good morning and welcome to today's The Hindu News Analysis. Myself Nitin K. Biju, I'll be appearing for the civil service interview this year. So coming to the contents page, today we'll be discussing about 6 important articles which are covered in the Hindu newspaper. Also, there are some important schemes which are announced by the Prime Minister yesterday. So that will be covered. So please go through the video completely so that you don't miss any important topic for the prelims. Before going to the first article, please pause for a second and try to attempt the question by yourself. After discussing the relevant article, we'll be coming to the practice question again. The first article, no plan to ease fiscal deficit targets. So despite the strain on the government finances due to the COVID crisis, there is no proposal to amend the legislation meant for controlling the fiscal deficit, said chairman of the 15th Finance Commission, that is N.K. Singh. Okay, so what is the background of this article? Due to this COVID crisis, the states are demanding more money. The states are also demanding more power to borrow money from the market, right? So, but there is a limitation for the states to borrow money from the market. And what is that limitation? There is an act. There is an act called Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act, that is FRBM Act, which says that the expenditure should not be much more than the revenue, and there is a limit on that is it should be the fiscal deficit should be a maximum of 3% with an escape clause of 0.5%. So this is some basic economic concepts. So I think it's better let us revise those concepts and then come back to this article, otherwise it will be very difficult for the beginners. So as we all know, Finance Commission, it is established by the President of India in 1959 under Article 280 of the Indian Constitution. So it is constituted in every 5 years, once in every 5 years. Now presently it is the 15th Finance Commission headed by N.K. Singh. Now, the concept of fiscal deficit. What is fiscal deficit? It is a shortfall in the government's income compared to its income compared to its spending. That is the shortfall of the revenue compared to its expenditure. Also, fiscal deficit is calculated as a percentage of GDP. For example, like it's calculated like 3.5% of the GDP, 3% of the GDP, like that. Also, so now coming to India's example, in budget 2020, the total expenditure of India was planned as 30 lakh crore. LC stands for lakh crore. But the total revenue was only 22 lakh crore. So what will we do? We have to borrow. How much we have to borrow? We have to borrow 8 lakh crore rupees, right? So that 8 lakh crore rupees becomes the fiscal deficit. Now, this 8 lakh crore, that amount, when we consider it as a percentage of the GDP, India's GDP is around $3 trillion. So when we consider as a percentage of the GDP, it comes to around 3.5% of the GDP. So I hope this clears your doubt about fiscal deficit. So here we see that the present fiscal deficit is 3.5% of the GDP. There is an act which says that the fiscal deficit should not be too much, because as you know, if we borrow much more than what we earned, then we'll be in debt. We'll be in debt crisis, which many countries in the world are facing now. So this act, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act, tries to control the fiscal deficit to a manageable amount, right? It is an act of the parliament to institutionalize financial discipline and reduce India's fiscal deficit. So what is their aim? Their aim was to eliminate revenue deficit of the country. Eliminate revenue deficit means to make it 0%. What is revenue deficit? It is the difference between the revenue expenditure and the revenue receipt, right? Also, they want to the act also wants to bring down the fiscal deficit to a manageable 3% of the GDP. We have seen that already it is 3.5% of the GDP, right? But this act says we should manage it to 3% of the GDP. However, due to the 2007 international financial crisis, the deadlines for the act was initially postponed and then subsequently suspended in 2009. So here, as you can see, the act was enacted in 2003, but due to the 2007 crisis, the act was suspended. Okay, now the government is thinking about bringing back the act, of reviewing that. So the government has appointed a committee chaired by N.K. Singh. It is a review committee for FRBM Act under the Ministry of Finance. So this committee will just see, okay, what should be the revenue deficit, what should be the fiscal deficit, and other factors. Okay, so please go through the recommendations of the encasing committee. It is very important. It can be used a very nice manner in the mains examination. Okay, so I hope you got the understood the basic concepts. Now coming back to the article. So as you have already seen, there is a FRBM Act, and which it says that it should be managed within 3%. Also there is an escape clause which says that there can be a plus or minus 0.5%. So maximum it is 3.5%, right? So in order to increase the borrowing limits, in order to increase the fiscal deficit, that is to borrow more money from the market, we need to amend the act, right? We need to amend the act because the act says that it should be 3 or 3.5% max, right? So the encasing is telling that there is no plan to amend the act as of now. He also said that the government was looking to see how to improve the economic situation while staying within the act. Also, he said that recently the finance minister has evoked the escape clause to relax the fiscal deficit target for 2020-21 by 0.5% to 3.5% of the GDP. So that is the present fiscal deficit. So what is happening with the states? The state governments are telling that we need more money to fight the pandemic. So increase that 3% to at least 4% of 5%. Right. So, but Dr. Singh is telling that this change is not possible without fresh legislation. Okay, there is a need to amend the act. And the second thing is that who will give money? Even if the government is giving issues bonds, who will give money from the market? So the chance that you can raise money from the market is also very less. So encasing is telling that try to evoke the escape clause, that is the 0.5% escape clause by the states also, so that we can try to get more money within the framework of the act itself. I hope you understood this topic. Now, coming back to the question, it was an easy question. Finance Commission is mentioned under which article? So it is option C, Article 280. So please go back through your macroeconomy NCRT of class 12th for your concepts to be more clear. Okay. Now, coming to the second article, this is today's editorial. So no 100% quota. This editorial refers to the Supreme Court's verdict of the constitutional bench that 100% quota is not possible and it is against the equality, right? So the verdict squashing the reservation of 100% of all teaching posts in scheduled areas in Andhra Pradesh is not against affirmative programs like reservation, but it is against the manner in which it is implemented, which is discriminatory to other communities as well. For example, if one community gets 100% of the quota, what will the other communities do, right? There are other, as they told, there are not only, there are scheduled caste, also there are other backward communities, also there are scheduled ST communities which are not native to those areas. What will these communities do if 100% reservation is given to one community, right? So what was the idea behind, as we all know, Andhra Pradesh has brought this legislation, tried to bring this policy in 2000. The reason was that there was chronic absenteeism among teachers who did not belong to the remote areas. So that's why the Andhra Pradesh government tried to bring in 100% reservation for ST communities residing in that area. But the Supreme Court said that it is not a viable option. If the issue is chronic absenteeism of teachers, then you should put in measures to improve the attendance of the teachers. It's bringing in 100% reservation is not at all a solution for this issue of chronic absenteeism. Also, we should come back to the basics. As we all know, Andhra Pradesh has a local system of recruitment to public services. The president, under Article 371D, this is a special provision for Andhra Pradesh, it has issued orders that a resident of a district or a zone cannot apply to another district or a zone for appointment. So if a person is residing in one district, he cannot apply for a teacher post in another district. This is included under special provision under Article 371D of the Constitution, right? Also, coming to the Constituent Assembly debates, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said that Any reservation should be for a minority of seats. Minority of seats means 50%. That if it goes above 50%, it doesn't become a minority, right? So that is the rationale between rationale why the reservation is capped to 50%. So the article is about it. So here, uh, this is a continuation of yesterday's news. We have discussed it in more detail in yesterday, but here they have mentioned about some concepts, fifth schedule and Article 371D, which we'll be discussing in the coming slides. So what are schedule areas? Schedule areas are areas in India with a preponderance of tribal population. The majority of the people are tribals, right? The authority to create and administer schedule areas stems from the fifth and sixth schedules of the Constitution of India. So we know that there are some schedules. There are around 12 schedules in the Indian Constitution. In those 12 schedules, are schedule 5th and 6th talks about demarcating areas as schedule areas. The schedules of the Indian Constitution are very important because in 2019 paper there were two questions which could be directly attempted if you knew the schedules of the Constitution. Now, coming to fifth schedule. The fifth schedule protects tribal interest in the states other than Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. So except these four states, all other states are covered under fifth schedule. Now what about these four states? These four states are covered under sixth schedule. So that is the difference between fifth schedule and sixth schedule. Okay. Also, I'll give you a homework. Try to find the difference between schedule areas and tribal areas. It is mentioned in the chapter in Indian Polity by Lakshmikant. So be clear with the difference. What is a schedule area and what is a tribal area? Okay. Also coming to Article 371D, it forms a part of the Constitution of India. It safeguards the rights of local people in employment and education and was created after agitation in the state of Andhra Pradesh. So Article 371D is confined to Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so it comes under special provision. You might remember about Article 370. 370 was the special provision for Jammu and Kashmir. Similarly, there is Article 371A, 371B, C, D like that. So these are special provisions for various states. So D stands for Andhra Pradesh, state of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, remember this also because it's very much in news. It can be a direct question in the prelims. Now coming to the next third article, joining of the Jains. This editorial is regarding the uh, coming together of Jio and Facebook, so that by Facebook buying around 10%, 9.9% of stake in the Reliance Industries Jio platform, right? So the article is telling that it is exciting. It is an exciting thing which is happening because two major players are coming together, but there is a risk of monopoly, as we have already seen in the Jio case of Jio. When Jio came with so much freebies and all the people started moving towards Jio, and it created an issue of monopoly, and the other players, other telecom players were badly affected. Many of them try to merge, many of them are not even heard anymore. So this issue should not happen. That is the editorial talking about. So the focus of their combined might is India's retail sector. As we already seen, they are planning to integrate WhatsApp with JioMart so that people can buy groceries or other commodities just through WhatsApp, and they'll get the commodities at the doorstep of their houses. So this is the plan there. Also, in the recent years, India's retail space is very much, it's an ongoing battlefield where companies such as Amazon, Walmart, SoftBank, Alibaba, back Paytm, everyone is just trying to exploit, trying to benefit from India's retail market, right? But irrespective of this, the combination of Facebook and Reliance will be very difficult to beat. It's most probable that they will emerge as the single biggest player here. Also, for Facebook's WhatsApp messaging services, India is its biggest market with over 400 million users. Also, they are waiting for this payment regulator approval for its WhatsApp Pay. Also, coming to Jio is the presently India's number one telecom brand, right? Also, JioMart, they have launched the JioMart, which is a commerce marketplace which seeks to connect local retailers with the consumers. So this is the retail market which I was talking about. Now, for both the players, it is a win-win situation because Facebook was struggling to get past the regulatory concerns in India, and it was trying with some ambitious projects such as free basics, digital currency, Libra and all, but they faced they were opposed by the regulatory environment in India. Now, when Facebook comes with Geo, which is already powerful in India, Facebook will be able to come out of this regulatory issues, right? Also, Reliance can also, what is the benefit to Reliance? Reliance can use the most popular WhatsApp to integrate it with its Geo, I mean GeoMart, right? Also, Geo will be receiving around 9 point so much of money from Facebook. That is the 9.9% stake. That money will be received by Geo to reduce their debt. So it is also noteworthy that this is the largest foreign direct investment in the technology sector in India. So, but here caution should be taken that it should not result in a monopoly. So that is the crux of the article. So in a video about Indian Express explained, I have explained in detail what about the Geo Facebook deal. So just please watch the video. I'll be putting the link of that video in the description today. So please go through that video for more understanding about the Geo Facebook deal. Now, coming to a very important topic, the Prime Minister of India has said yesterday during the Panchayati Raj Day that India must be self-reliant. He also announced two important schemes while addressing the sarpanches from various parts of the country through video conferencing. He launched, one is e-Gram Swaraj. It is for monitoring of rural infrastructure works and e-governance. And the second one is Swamita program, which involves mapping rural housing and land holdings via technology, that is through drones. So these two schemes are being newly launched by the Prime Minister yesterday. So please go through this. It's very important. We'll be discussing it in the next slide. So what is Swamito Yojana? It is meant to create a record of land ownership in rural areas using modern technology. So it is piloted by the Panchayati Raj Ministry of the Union Government, and it was launched yesterday on the Panchayati Raj Divas. So what is this about? It's about giving land ownership to people and measuring the land and using a digital technology, that is drone. So what is the necessity of this program? The need of this yojana was felt since many villages in the rural areas, they don't have proper papers providing the ownership of the land. So now what will happen? The drones will measure it. The drones will measure the land in the rural areas, and it will create digital record of the land ownership, and the land will be assigned to the people, right? So, and the record will be digitalized now. So even though there are no papers, now the records will be digitalized. So, and the last point is, yeah, it is measured using a drones and all, right? Now coming to the next scheme announced, that is e-Gram Swaraj portal. So it will be the single largest platform to provide the panchayat wise work details and records of all the works of every village panchayat under Gram Panchayat Development Plan. This will help to speed up the implementation of the projects, that is the infrastructure projects. For example, road construction or whatever project is going on there, canal construction. So these can be monitored through e-Gram Swaraj portal, right? So this will help in speeding up the implementation of these projects. Also, any citizen can create his or her account in the portal and can know about the development works of the villages. Also, individuals can know about all the works of the Ministry of Panchayati Raj through this portal. So this is one of the excellent steps in helping the Panchayati Raj institutions to become truly instruments of democratic decentralization by giving more powers to the people to check the developmental works which is happening in the panchayat. Also, through the Swamita program, they'll be getting land ownerships, right? So this is what the yesterday's scheme announcement were all about. Now coming to the next topic, Wildlife Board note for mining in Assam Elephant Reserve. So the topic is that amid the countrywide lockdown, the National Board of Wildlife, it has recommended coal mining in part of an elephant reserve in Assam. So this is the news about. So here we have to focus on some important issues. I mean important facts which are related to prelims as well as for mains, coming to mains, you have to focus on the issue of coal mining and all in protected areas like elephant reserves, wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, etc. Right. Now, one thing to focus is the NBWL, National Board of Wildlife. We'll be discussing that in the coming slides. And another thing is they have mentioned about two elephant reserves uh, which is there in the country. So this reserves as well as in which state they are present in should be remembered, because it is in current affairs and there is a good chance that this will be asked in the prelims, because every year there will be one or the other question on biosphere reserves, elephant reserves, or these kind of protected areas. So the first is Dehing Patkai Elephant Reserve, that is in Assam, that should be remembered. And the second one is Arunachal Pradesh Demali Elephant Reserve. So you just need to remember these two. Just remember these two and skip to the next slide. And there is another picture here, Joy amid lockdown. Here also they have mentioned about one tiger reserve, Tadoba Andhari Tiger Reserve in Maharashtra. So these are the news which we just miss off. So try to ensure that you focus on these important news rather than reading about the political news which are there in the Hindu newspaper. Okay, so we have learned about two elephant reserves and one tiger reserve now, right? Also, there's one more thing. Please go through National Board of Wildlife also. National Board of Wildlife, it is a statutory body which is under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, right? And it is chaired by the Prime Minister. So just go through the Wikipedia of NBWL also, so that it can be asked in the prelims. Now coming to the last article, 1 lakh crore fund to repay MSME dues, Gadkari. So, who is Nitin Gadkari? He is the Minister for MSME and the road transport, right? So, the center is working on a scheme to address the issue of delayed payments to MSMEs, wherein rupees 1 lakh crore dedicated fund will be created to reimburse outstanding payments owed by central and state government undertakings as well as major industries to MSMEs, right? So, what is the issue of this article? As we all know, MSMEs are small scale industries, right? But they produce some components, some machinery, some parts which are very much important to the main industries. For example, government PSUs, central or state government PSUs like BEL, BHEL. So they procure components, small components from these MSMEs. But after procuring it, the payments are not processed on time. There is a delay in the payments. So as you all know, MSME is a very much cash dependent sector, and they are not getting the payments back on time. So this is a big issue, right? And especially in this times of COVID, cash is a big issue now. So the center is trying to work on a scheme so that of 1 lakh crore, so that this delayed payment should be processed faster and the MSMEs will be paid. So this is the plan which is going on. Please continue following this news so that we can know what is happening in the coming days. Also, there are three important concepts which are related to MSMEs which I'll be discussing now. One is MSME Samadhan. MSME Samadhan is the delayed payment monitoring system. Here the MSMEs can register their complaint of delayed payments, and the complaints will be processed and the money will be given to them. So that is about MSME Samadhan. And there is something called as MSME Sambandh, which deals with public procurement portal, public procurement for MSMEs, right? So as we already told, the PSUs, the government PSUs and other industries, they procure from the MSMEs. So this MSME Sambandh deals with all those procurements. Also coming to MSME Sampark portal, it is a portal that is a digital platform where job seekers, the people who are searching for jobs, as well as the recruiters come together so that they get the job seekers get the job, as well as the recruiters get the right man force for the job. So please remember these three things. This can also be asked in the prelims. Okay, so I hope you like the video. Please subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and please press the bell icon for instant updates. Have a nice day. Thank you.